If you run a daycare or a school, any place filled with kids, you know that safety isn't just a priority, right? It's everything. But there's this one huge challenge that's always there, you can't see it, and it's so hard to get a handle on. So today, we're going to look at a whole new standard of care that's built to take on that exact problem. Look, every single day, you're in the trenches, fighting this invisible war against germs. It's all about keeping the kids in your care safe and healthy, and let's be honest, it's a relentless job. It feels like it never ends. But what if you could bring a powerful new ally into that fight? All right, here's what we've got on tap. First, we're going to dig into that constant battle and what an outbreak really costs you. Then we'll introduce it's like a scientific shield, and it's a total game changer. We'll stack it up against the old ways of doing things, see why it's so simple and safe, and finally, talk about what it means to really set a new standard of care. Okay, so let's dive in. First things first, we need to understand the battlefield. And that means really getting a grip on the invisible threat that's lurking in pretty much every corner of your facility. I mean, it's just a fact, right? When you have kids together, you have a ton of contact. They're touching each other, they're sharing toys, they're crawling all over every single surface. And all that interaction, it basically creates the perfect storm for germs to spread like wildfire. And these contamination points, man, they're literally everywhere you look. Think about it. The door handle that every single kid touches on their way in. The tables where they eat snacks. The toys and blocks that pass through, dozens of little hands every hour? Every single one of those spots is a potential hotspot. So what happens when that invisible threat suddenly becomes a very visible problem? Well, the cost is way bigger than just a few kids having to stay home with a cold. Yeah, this is where it really hits you where it hurts, your operations. An outbreak isn't just about sick kids. It means attendance drops. And let's be real, for most facilities, that means lost revenue. It means you've got worried parents calling, and that can really damage your reputation. And what's the usual fix? You end up spending a ton of money on harsh chemicals that smell terrible and can even irritate the kids and staff. This quote really nails it. It says, an outbreak has this long tail of consequences. We're talking higher costs, lower attendance, and those nagging health concerns that just seem to stick around. It's not a one-and-done thing. Okay, so we've laid out the problem pretty clearly. It's big, so what's the answer? Well, this is where modern science comes in with a completely new kind of protection, a real shield. It's called Cy14 Pharma. So what is this stuff exactly? Basically, it's a water-based formula that's packed with these microscopic silver particles. And these tiny particles are the secret sauce. You can almost think of them like microscopic defenders that go to work by physically tearing apart the structure of germs, just poof, neutralizing them the second they make contact. So that's the science behind it, which is cool. But honestly, seeing it work with your own eyes, that's way more powerful. The real proof is in the protection that you can literally see. Okay, check this out. This is pretty amazing. On the left, you've got your standard Petri dish, and it is just crawling with bacteria. That's our control group. Now look at the dish on the right. It was treated with Cy14 Pharma for only 40 minutes, and it's completely clear. Wow, that's what we mean when we talk about its neutralizing power. And it's not just a visual trick. We can put a number on that power. We're talking about scientific studies confirming that it wipes out up to 99.9% of the bad guys. Viruses like the common cold and flu, bacteria like staph, even fungi. So the big question is, how does this new stuff really stack up against the old ways of doing things? Let's do a little side-by-side. We'll compare it to something a lot of places might have used in the past, like a traditional quartz lamp. When you lay it out like this, the choice is, it's a no-brainer. The quartz lamp only works when it's literally turned on, so there's zero lasting protection. Plus, you have to get everyone out of the room, and it kicks out toxic ozone. Yikes. But with Cy14 Pharma, it actually creates a protective shield that lasts. And the best part, it's completely safe. You can use it while the kids and your staff are right there in the room. Okay, so we've established it's super effective, a huge leap forward. But I know what you're thinking. Is this actually practical for my crazy daily routine? And the answer is that big yes. It's all designed around 3 simple ideas: simple, safe, and smart. Getting this into your daily cleaning routine could not be easier. Seriously, it's just 3 steps. 1, you dilute the concentrate with some water. 2, you apply it with a sprayer, a cloth, whatever you already use. And 3, you just let it air dry. That's it. You're done. You've now got a protective barrier working for you. And let's talk about the most important thing for any place with kids, right? Safety. This stuff is water-based, there's no chlorine, no alcohol, none of those aggressive oxidizers or harsh chemicals. It's certified safe for the children, for your staff, and for all the surfaces in your building. Okay, I know, at this point you're probably thinking, this sounds amazing, but it has to be crazy expensive. But here's the thing. The cost is actually really practical. When you break it down, a standard solution costs just about 74 cents per liter.
So what does that actually mean for your monthly budget? Well, for a pretty typical facility, say around 6,500 square feet, you're looking at about 44 bucks a month for daily protection. Now think about that. When you stack that up against what just one single outbreak could cost you in lost revenue and headaches, it's an incredibly smart investment.
And that really brings us to our final point, which is maybe the most important one of all. This isn't just about switching out a cleaning product. No, this is about elevating your entire commitment to safety. You know, bringing in technology like this does so much more than just keep kids healthy. It gives you a real competitive advantage. It sends a huge, powerful message to parents that you are absolutely at the cutting edge of safety and care. And that's how you build deep, lasting trust. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. In a world where the challenges are always changing, is your standard of safety really keeping up? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.